Hello and welcome to Meanwhile in the Falklands. I'm Oliver Thompson and we are joined with three other guests in the studio. So we have Kyle.
Yes, I'm Kyle Naffett.
I'm Hannah Newton.
Well done, Kyle, you knew your name. And I'm Steve Foams.
Wait, so that's a good little intro. So in terms of this week, we have been incredibly busy. We've had a few sports events going on. So Kyle, we'll start off with, you went to the golf this week.
We did.
How was that? That was quite interesting.
It was alright. I don't know anything about golf. Don't know my putters from my drivers. I'm guessing those are golf clubs. But yeah, it was okay. The weather was really nice on the first day, and then the second day it was all foggy and horrible. I'm just consistently impressed that they managed to play golf when the wind is so bad down here.
Well, golf here in the Falklands is quite different, isn't it, to golf in the UK in terms of the course? Tell us a bit about that.
Well, the course here, it's all done east to west or west to east. I can't remember. I think it's east to west.
One of them.
I'm going to commit to east to west because when you're hitting the balls, you've got to hit them. Basically, the course is laid out so that the wind is taken into account. I'm trying my best to describe this. I don't know how it works, but from my understanding, the course is laid out to compensate for the wind, so it's not quite as bad. And that's where I'm going to leave it because I don't really know.
Wow, what fun facts we've learnt today.
How informative.
That makes you our golf expert.
But
Our new golf
the
correspondent.
golf is meant to be like the Ryder's Cup.
Yeah, it's meant to be like
How?
the Ryder Cup.
Steve,
is
tell us about golf.
shaking his
Okay,
head.
Steve is our sportsman. He might be able to.
Well, I believe the Ryder Cup is the biannual competition that America and Europe have,
think so.
men's, and they play singles, pairs throughout, and you get so many points per win. Yeah, and this is the Falklands equivalent. And I don't even know who won it, but I'm sure you can elucidate on that. But yeah, it's that equivalent. So you have 2 days. One day they're playing pairs, one day they're playing singles. But I saw with Eugene Hurley, for instance, on a Friday night. He said he just played 36 holes. He was absolutely shattered. You know, and because it was really good day, wasn't it, on a Friday?
Yeah, it was.
And he looked as though he'd been in the Caribbean for a week. So but he enjoyed it.
I think it was a good competition. Because down here they do it between the Kelpers, which is the Falkland-born native team, and the Presidents, which is made up of contractors and all of that kind of stuff.
Odds and sods.
Odds and sods. And it's been fairly even between years when the Presidents have won and years when the Kelpers have won. I think the Kelpers have gotten like maybe 1 or 2 wins on the Presidents. But this year the Kelpers won. But it was looking quite narrow because at the end of the first morning, both the scores were tied. But then I think as the competition went on, the Kelpers just managed to edge out a little bit.
Yeah.
But the Presidents are always at a disadvantage because they have to wear those masks. It's very hard to see with the Presidents of the United States mask on when they play. So I always think they're at a
Oh, here
disadvantage.
we go.
Oh,
This is
God.
starts we mean to go.
We were doing so well.
That
Anyway,
joke's called Sea of Steve Foams.
that kind of ties into the next bit, moving swiftly on. Hannah, you have been quite busy as well today, but you've been quite ill.
I
haven't you?
have been ill. It's not very interesting. I don't think we should really talk about it for that long.
Oh, well,
I haven't
no,
been
we can
very
still
well.
mention it.
Hannah's been
We
infecting
should
the
all
whole
give a big-
office. Oh, yeah.
Just so you know, and I'm spreading it to as many people as I can.
I am feeling a bit ill right now, to be fair.
Hannah's aiming to take us all down with her.
Exactly. May as well come down with this sinking ship.
Brilliant.
There's many an old wreck in the Falklands.
Oh, here we go.
And fair enough then. And Steve, you've also been quite busy as well this week, haven't you? What have you been up to?
Yeah, I've
Haven't you? Have you?
I've eaten out a lot.
Right.
Yeah, I've because we've had the board meeting and the shareholders down. So I seem to have gone. Oh no, I went to see Andre Roux.
I thought it was New Year, New Year
yes.
though. What happened to that? The diet, the New Year's diet.
The New Year's diet has
Gone out the window.
It's sort of more like
Is
start it in March.
It's on pause for now.
Yes, it's a let's start the spring diet. It's called now, rather than New Year's diet. No, but the Andre Rieu concert at the cinema was fantastic. It was actually a million times better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, really?
Didn't quite have people dancing around. Apparently they did at the last one. But there's definitely a few toe tappers along my aisle, and they really enjoyed it.
And just to clarify, Andre Rieu was not in the Falklands, was he?
No. But, watch this space.
Yeah, you never know.
That's what I say. Still waiting to hear from Ed Sheeran's manager. So we'll see on that. But no, it was a 70th birthday sort of celebration, and they showed loads of clips from various years of his various concerts. But I mean, he's packed out. I mean, he's.
Steve, you look good for 70.
Oh,
Come on! It's 1-1 now. 1-1 now.
Game on.
I'm going to regret this. I can see. No, it was good though. It was good. I would definitely say the next one that occurs, give it a bash. If it's still on, the gentleman, go and give the gentleman a bash. He's got an 18 certificate, so obviously you can't take your 4-year-old child along. But it's not there because of the violence. It's 18 certificate. It's not there for the violence. It's the language, but it is very, very humorous.
The cast looks really good for it.
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair.
Yeah.
And in terms of Stanley Services as well, we've got quite exciting as well. We've got Stanley Services have got a new ATM, I believe.
Yes, the only ATM on the island.
Stanley Services.
Yes, in the shop at the fuel station. So it's just round the corner, hidden well away. But it seems to be a bit of a hit.
Why has it taken so long for an ATM to come to the Falklands?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's probably a question for your local and friendly bank manager, to be honest. We just looked into it. It did take a while, obviously tested it out, made sure it worked. It's been on trial and now for nearly 2 weeks, and it seems to be working, not causing issues. So
now, for our listeners who are from the Falklands, we all use checkbooks and bank cards. They've only just brought in chip and pin bank card services, so it's quite difficult. You can't actually get any cash out from a hole in the wall. No. You have to go to the bank between Monday and Friday. It's not open on the weekend. They're only open till 3 o'clock, and that's that. So it's quite difficult to get cash out and stuff. But now with this ATM, hopefully we'll be coming into modern times.
Hopefully make life a little bit easier.
Yes.
I must admit, I am starting to learn how to use a cheque.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you never need to in the UK. And then all of a sudden...
I didn't even touch a checkbook before I came down here.
Yeah.
Hadn't even seen one.
Yes, Olly, I'm from a different era, and I have
70.
I brought back my cheque flourish when I started using cheques here. But yes, I can understand. I mean, probably I haven't used a cheque other than Kabir for at least 10 years, so I can understand why people that are a little bit younger than me have never used a cheque. Yeah,
I'm still perfecting my flourish. But in terms of a first as well, Kyle, you also had a go at spinning.
I did.
You flourished.
I flourished doing the spinning.
Good
and it was so perfect that they flamed it and said it's the best wall they've ever seen. No, they didn't. It was called not the worst wall we've ever seen, which I'm taking as a win. But yeah, spinning is very, very difficult. And for those that aren't aware, spinning is when you've got
bike.
I was not on an exercise bike, although I probably should have been. It's where you have a spinning wheel and you've got to feed like raw wool into the wheel and spin it into yarn.
Raw wool.
See, I know my spinning and wool terms. But yeah, you spin it into yarn or into thread, so that you can then use it in your knitting and make a jumper and that kind of thing. But it requires a huge, tremendous amount of coordination between your eyes and your hands and your feet, because you've got to use your feet to work the pedals so that the wheel spins, and you've got to make sure it's spinning the right way, and you've got to then like hold the wool and pull on it while pushing it forwards into the little spinning hole.
Wow, this is all technical.
Just watch the show.
Yeah,
if you
just
want
watch
to see
the
a
show.
couple of clips of Carl having a go,
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't. You probably wouldn't get a nice jumper out of it. Let's put it that way.
And just to be clear, we're not talking about golf now.
Yeah, this is.
We're on a. No, but did you get to use a niddy noddy?
I did not get to use the niddy noddy.
I love that term.
Somebody else niddy noddied my wool for me because they went, well, this probably isn't going to work very well, so we're gonna do it for you. But yeah, I didn't know there was something in wool that was called the Niddy Noddy. It is a bit of an odd name.
Yeah, but there's some fantastic stuff though.
Oh,
wasn't there?
amazing stuff! Amazing.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff people make down here, and like jumpers and scarves and all that kind of thing. Just
Didn't Mrs. Foams make you a very nice jumper that you
Oh,
never
here
wear?
we go. Here we go.
shout out.
Terrible. Mrs. Foams, if you're listening, I'm standing up for the jumper.
Well,
That's 2-1.
I will thank a previous employee of FITV, Thomas Stotting, for taking on the first attempt, because he likes to wear jumpers that are 10 times bigger than him. And then the second attempt, which was, to be fair,
it was very
fitted
Yeah.
and was lovely style, but it was in what I would call throw-up green. Yeah, and it just wasn't really my type of colour.
You should have said that before she knitted the whole thing.
And you're saying this while
Poor
wearing
thing.
a green t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Caught out.
Oh dear, I think that's too.
Thanks, Carl. Yeah, so, yeah, well, you know, I'm sure Paula's going to listen to this, so sorry, darling.
Brilliant. And Hannah, we did mention that you have been a bit ill, but you also were filming part of the Firewalk as
Yeah,
well.
no,
In
there was a
Youngtown.
charity firewalk last weekend where the RAF Fire Service and the Falklands Fire Service were walking all the way from MPC to Stanley, which is a very long way.
Yeah, a long,
I
long
don't
way.
know how many miles off the top of my head,
I
but
don't know, but they
it's
were
about
doing
an hour
it,
and a bit's
They
drive.
were doing
isn't
it in all their fireman kit and wearing all their bleeding apparatus and all sorts.
And they were kind of they're tagging each other in different teams. But I must admit, it was quite funny because we were following them, Kyle and I,
Yes.
and we stopped off as they were doing an exchange, and we got a glimpse of something that made our day. I think there was a lot of
Here we
nice RAF firemen taking
Yes.
their tops off, but it was good,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
That's for the FITV
yeah.
private archive.
Yes.
Or the calendar that comes out later
Yeah,
in the year.
yeah.
Wow. Fair
But
enough.
yeah, no, it was a
Yeah,
good
and
event
they-
film, and
they
they raised what was it,
£2,000 or
£2,200
something
Oh,
like
right,
that for
okay.
the Salvation
Yeah.
Army and the
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Australian Bushfire
Relief.
Relief Fund.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
brilliant. And also, as well, you were so you were both filming that, and you were trying to solve a riddle, I believe. You're
Yes.
trying to. I don't know if Hannah or Kyle can talk to us about that riddle.
This was big news in the Falklands.
Yes,
at least
it
for
was.
us.
Well, we spent hours trying to
Hours.
crack it.
Hours.
Because
So-
we just didn't want to do any work that day, so we were like, right. But in the local newspaper was a riddle in the
Yes.
public notice section
Well-
about, what was it, one bung lung and his able
No.
assistant smells.
It was so the full thing was missing in Stanley, one bung lung and his able assistant smells. Last seen in the pub. If found, please return to Kuweethup, Victoria, Australia.
Yeah, and we were like, what on earth does this mean?
But some of the words had like
Capital letters.
capital letters that were
yeah.
in bold, but some of the other ones weren't in bold, and it all seemed very, very suspicious, and seemed like there was some kind of coded message being sent to someone in the Falklands. And we spent ages trying to figure it
And
out.
we never
and
got to the bottom of it.
no, we didn't know
You
what.
still working it out? Or are you still...
I've asked around. I've asked people at the local newspaper if they knew what it was, and they said that they didn't know what it was. So, who knows? We're keeping an eagle eye out for
Yes.
more coded messages in the
I
newspaper.
think we should start sending some out.
I think we should. Should do a response on FITV.
Yeah,
An appeal for information.
yeah.
But yeah, if anyone that listens knows what one bung lung and his able assistant smells means, or has seen the notice and wants to enlighten us, please let us know. Email us at news@fitv.co.uk.
We are not mad.
We're extremely interested.
Yeah, brilliant. It sounds quite interesting. to me.
Yeah.
Paula might know, to be fair.
Paula might know.
It sounds like it's right up her
Yeah.
street, so we'll be sending her a picture of
some
it.
sort
Mrs.
of
Holmes.
Well, if-
crossword anagram
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
If any listeners know, do make a comment below. And make sure if you give us an answer. As well, the future as well, looking ahead to next week, we've got a quite exciting event coming up on Sunday,
Yes.
the 175th anniversary from
I thought
Port
you were
Louis.
talking about the cricket then.
Oh, well, I was coming to that as well. It's on my list of things here. But we've got that big anniversary. So, Kyle and Hannah, what are you guys doing for the anniversary?
We are meeting up with some of the walkers, aren't we?
Yep,
Yeah.
and filming the fate.
And filming the fate and
But what it is it's the 175th anniversary of Port Louis, the previous capital of the Falklands,
Mhm.
going to Stanley as the new capital of the Falklands. So loads of people are doing loads of different stuff. Like you've got guys coming out in their 4x4s, people walking, people on horses.
Yeah.
people on boats.
And Ollie's going to be on one of those boats as well.
What's it?
Can't
Boats, floats and automobiles or whatever it is.
What?
Boats, blokes and automobiles.
No,
What's the
planes, trains and automobiles.
Oh, there we go. Close enough.
Ah,
Yes. And more importantly, Ollie's going to be on the boat with the correct safety gear.
yes, he is.
Oh, correct PPE.
Just in case the
Got it.
insurance company listen.
I've been kitted out with all the finest, latest
the
equipment.
finest
so-
in flotation devices.
Yeah. And Steve, so obviously us three are doing the 175th anniversary, but you've kind of jumped the gun a bit, but you're also doing something on Sunday as well?
Oh yeah, now this is fantastic. I'll tell you, it's the cup between, and I think it's the fourth in the series, the Ashes, the Falkland Island Ashes, between a side from the military and a side from Stanley, and I have umpiring and filming at the same time.
Ooh.
So I can't wait, because this could be historic, because I'm filming from the umpire position, and let's say there's an LBW call, we could go to TMO.
LBW, for people, what does LBW
Yeah, I
what
don't
does
understand
any
the
of this
acronym.
mean? We're all just going, okay, Steve.
Leg before wicket.
Leg before wicket.
Oh.
So I can use.
Oh, do a little playback
As
on.
in-
Yeah, I
like-
can do a
Yeah.
playback and do a review,
Ooh.
and that will be a first in the Falklands.
That is
historic. That will be historic.
Why aren't you playing?
I'm too old, if I'm honest. I'm too old.
Did you
No,
used
but
to play
you
it?
used to play, because I remember when I first found this job, I was Googling Steve Foams, and up came this article of him playing in somewhere like, where were you, Caribbean or Bermuda?
Yeah,
or
we had a
like some
we had a-
tropical island where they were off playing cricket.
we had a tour in 2012. We played in Belize, Barbados, and Jamaica. We were undefeated in Jamaica, which should have been the front cover of the Penguin News at the time, because undefeated in Jamaica is just fantastic. The reason we were undefeated in Jamaica is because the whole thing got rained off. It doesn't matter. We were undefeated in Jamaica.
Fake news.
But it was great, and it was a great advert for the Falklands, and it was a lot of fun, and I love playing cricket. But I went with a damaged Achilles as well, because I damaged that playing cricket beforehand. But it's
You need to get back into it. I think it's
I
a bad, poor
would.
excuse. I'm too old.
yeah. Well,
You sound like Olly and his old football injury that stops him playing football and joining
yeah,
the football
well,
club.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's
Ollie,
a
Ollie,
bit.
mate.
No, I've been there with that injuries. No, in terms of, let's move swiftly on from that one. In terms of on Wednesday as well, on Tuesday, I believe, we've got a CPA. Now,
Yes, so it's the Women's Parliamentary Association have come down, Commonwealth Parliamentary Association have come down to do a series of talks and workshops about women in politics and
Yes.
women in Parliament.
And
so
I
we'll be
think-
going to Government House.
And
on-
also about representing small communities and
Yes.
something like that. So a bunch of a whole load of people from the islands are going to be giving talks and talking about their experiences and life in Falklands.
Now, you never guess what I've heard through the grapevine. Top Goss listener.
Goss.
Apparently, Sherry Blair will be appearing in the Falklands for this, is what I've heard. But Steve's looking at me like I could be...
As in Tony Blair's wife.
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay.
That'll be very interesting.
Steve's giving me a look that says that apparently it might not be happening, or it's
No.
top secret.
That was my shot look.
Or he's having a heart attack. One of the two.
Wasn't aware of that.
Apparently she's supposed to be coming, so watch this space.
also, I've written here IJS, so to say. Did you guys went and filmed that as well? Did you?
Oh, that's top secret though, isn't it?
Top secret.
We will watch the show next week where you will see some children doing some cooking in a restaurant,
Yeah.
taking over from real life chefs.
Oh wow!
Well, that's not top secret now, is
I
it?
know,
I mean,
we've given it away.
kind
I
of
know, I'm
revealed
kind
that.
of giving it away, but also you get to see
This is-
Kyle eating
For
food.
for anyone that's unaware, this is exactly what it's like when you play board games with Hannah, when it's like you've got to keep it a secret and she's demanding hints.
What was
and
it?
then
It was like clues where I was giving them all
So
away.
Oh,
we
yeah.
were playing Headbands, which is a game where you've got like the name of celebrity on your forehead, and you don't know who that celebrity is, but you've got to ask questions like
Yes,
am
no
I
questions,
a man
yeah.
or woman? Am I a doctor? That kind of thing. And it gets like 2 rounds in, and Hannah's like, well, you're Tony Blair, so I want to know who I am. Because
Oh,
you just
no,
get bored
bad.
of it.
But sometimes you need a clue round because some people always struggle
Yes.
to get
But
there.
Hannah's clue round is, so say if I was Tony Blair, she'd go, you were a Prime Minister for the Labour Party and your name rhymes with only air.
No, I wouldn't.
Yes, you would.
And on that note, I think the podcast has come to a swift end.
Brilliant.
And of course, Hannah had Cherie Blair on her.
Brilliant. So, and also it is Valentine's Day today, and Steve's itching on the edge of his seat, wanting to spread his story about his first ever Valentine's Day with.
Well, it's a life lesson. It's a life lesson. It's one of the, I'm
brace yourselves, everyone.
I'll try to impart part of my experience of life, right? So I have a very good friend who, obviously fell in love and decided to, on Valentine's Day, propose to his now wife.
Yeah.
Happily married, fantastic. But I did say to him at the time, I said, you're going to have nowhere to go after this because you've set the bar really high. He took her to a very nice restaurant, bought her a ring, proposed. He's been having to, go to Bali every year on holiday since then to raise the bar, sort of thing. I took a different approach. Yeah, I wanted to set the bar slightly lower than that. So the first Valentine's Day with Paula, I bought her an egg poacher. Yeah. So it's memorable. She reminds me about it consistently. So it's obviously a good thing to buy. But more importantly, and this is the real lesson, is so the second year we were together, when I bought her a Dyson Hoover, she thought it was fantastic. So you have to think about these things very carefully, because if you're going to commit to a long-term relationship, you need to think about where you set the bar right at the very start. I guess a valid story for this time of year, Valentine's. You want to be romantic. You can be romantic with an egg poacher. It works. I can tell you it works from experience. It works.
What have you got this year? How many years into your marriage, do you know?
This year,
how many
we
years
are.
is this?
Wow, we're 27 last September, so we've been married 27 years. Wow. It seems less, obviously, because it's just flown by. But this year,
up the party?
This year we are apart, and that's quite sad.
Is this the first Valentine's Day you've spent apart, or?
I think it is. Actually, I believe it is. Yes, we've always been together on Valentine's Day.
What have you got? Have you sent her anything? Come on, Steve, you must have sent her at least a movie card.
No, because I don't feel you need Valentine's Day to be romantic. I'm romantic the other 364 days a year. So like for instance, last year Paul had always wanted to go on an overnight train up to Scotland, and I could have done it on Valentine's Day, but I chose not to. Not because it was cheaper, because it's not.
He's an accountant, by the way, guys.
We just went up, when it suited us, and that was she was just bowled over by that sort of thing.
Paula, don't worry, I think he's booked a Viking river cruise for you guys.
There we go.
No pressure.
No pressure. But the thing is, what I will say, which is a very accountancy thing today, is if you are thinking of buying your partner red roses, wait until the day after Valentine's Day, because they are a third of the price.
They are
That's a good idea.
Yeah. And
Exclusive advice.
you can buy 3 times as many.
And
be
this is
even
why you don't need a man in your life. Be single, you don't have to worry about this.
Exclusive advice there from Steve.
So there you go. That's the kind of guy I am.
Brilliant.
On that note,
No, thank you very much for that. You can catch our this week's show on KTV as well. You can listen to this podcast on YouTube or SoundCloud. And I think that concludes this podcast. I'd say.
And Steve won't be in it next week because he's banned.
Yes, I'm almost waiting for the email from Paula to say, "Don't let anyone again! Don't let anyone again!"
Brilliant.
See you next
We'll see you next week.
Bye now.